English Weekly. Your English Weekly. La chronique 100% en anglais de Radio Grand Lac avec Sinead.
Hello, hello, and welcome back. Bonjour à tous ceux qui nous écoutent aujourd'hui en Radio Grand Lac 92.1. Bienvenue à l'émission Your English Weekly. Je suis Sinead Dupont, professeure d'anglais. L'objectif de cette émission, c'est stimuler la langue anglaise et l'expression anglaise aussi. Chaque semaine, vous découvrez soit un article, soit une histoire inspirée d'un élève ou une étudiante de Your English Workshop. Cette émission est aujourd'hui sponsorisée par Your English Workshop, qui est un centre de formation pour l'apprentissage de l'anglais pour les adultes et les enfants, bien entendu, certifiés Calliope. Pour les ados qui souhaitent à partir à l'étranger en Irlande, vous pouvez me contacter à Sinead@yourenglishworkshop.com. Sinead, S-I-N-E-A-D. Restez à l'écoute dans les 15 prochaines minutes pour notre expression de la semaine et notre conversation et leçon en anglais avec Sylvie Braud, un élève de Your English Workshop. La leçon de cette semaine est de niveau B1. Hi, and welcome back to Your English Weekly. Today we have a student from Your English Workshop with a new lesson. Our lesson today is a B1 level, perhaps a little bit plus. It shouldn't be too difficult, but if you wish to have the script for this lesson, please send me an email at Sinead, S-I-N-E-A-D, @yourenglishworkshop.com. Today, my guest is Sylvie Braud. Hello, Sylvie.
Hello.
And Sylvie is going to share with us the synopsis about Dancing Pina that she has seen. Hi, Sylvie, and thanks for coming. Sylvie, before you start, could you introduce yourself to our audience today listening?
My name is Sylvie Braud. I am 61 years old. I live in Aix-les-Bains. I am in partial activity as an occupational physician in an air handling unit production plant, which is situated in Culloz and belongs to an American group called Carrier.
Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you again for coming. And before we talk about Dancing Pina, let's look at our expression of the week. Have you ever heard the expression footloose and fancy free, which is a little bit like dancing, you know, where you have your foot loose and fancy free?
I have never heard this expression before, but I imagine it means something like to be free.
Ah, well, we'll find out at the end. So listeners, stay tuned with us until the end and we'll tell you what footloose and fancy free means. Okay, before we start, we're going to have a little lesson today about Dancing Pina. But perhaps, Sylvie, before we start, you can give some words that our listeners are going to hear. So, for example, can you explain to our listeners what a film critic is?
A film critic is a cinephile who came either from journalism or art criticism, even film professional, who display his review about film. This review is mostly published in written press.
Okay, in written press, or like today, on the radio.
On the radio.
An accomplished dancer. What is an accomplished dancer?
An accomplished dancer is a talented dancer, an achieved dancer.
Fantastic. And a choreographer. What is a choreographer?
A choreographer adjusts the steps and coordinates the dancers for a representation, ballet, opera. He is an accomplished dancer who has a musical ear and seeks to develop his own creative style.
Yes, nice. Okay, and then we're going to hear, listeners, the word shoots. What does that mean, shoots?
To shoot, it's to shoot a movie. To take image with a camera. It begins when you hear action.
Very good, fantastic. And the rite of spring. Now be careful, listeners. It's not the right, turn to the right. It's the right, R-I-T-E. So what is the rite of spring, Sylvie?
The rite of spring, it's a solemn consecration, for example, the spring. But it could be the coronation of the King of England. It's right.
Yeah, exactly. A ceremony. It could be a ceremony. And the linoleum, what is the lino?
The lino, it's a cheap surface protection of floors.
Yes, sometimes we put them in our houses, so that instead of having a wooden floor, we put the lino on top. Okay, fantastic. What is shaded?
To shade, it's to make shadow, to protect against the light.
Okay, fantastic. And then we have the word apprenticeship. What is an apprenticeship?
An apprenticeship means learning through hard working.
Yeah, sometimes it can be years. Some people are apprentices for years. Good work. Letting go. What does that mean, letting go?
Letting go, it's acceptance and adaptation to changes. The ability to see reality as it is without being dominated by an imaginary reality where everything would go exactly as planned.
Fantastic. Okay. And snippets. We were going to hear the word snippets. What does that mean, snippets?
Snippet, it means a small part, a bit,
an extract,
a piece.
Perfect. And the last word you're going to hear today, listeners, is halted. What does that mean, Sylvie? Halted.
The halted means it comes from to halt, which means to interrupt, to stop.
Exactly. Perfect. Okay, Sylvie, would you like to tell our listeners today about your review of Dancing Pina?
So, Dancing Pina. I came to talk to you about the cinema, specifically Dancing Pina, the last film I saw with pleasure. First, I am neither a film critic nor a dance specialist. I saw this film last week because a friend of mine who was a classical dance teacher took me to the cinema. I didn't know what I was going to see. And as I was delighted, I would like to share this experience with you.
Oh, thank you.
The film director, Florian Heinzen-Diop, shows us the transmission of two choreographies of Pina Bausch to a young generation of dancers. From memory, Philippina Bausch, alias Pina Bausch, was born in 1940 in Germany. An accomplished dancer, she became a revolutionary choreographer. In 1973, she created the modern dance company Dance Theater. She died in 2009. The film director shoots two spectacular dance projects, one in Dresden in Germany and the other in Dakar in Senegal. In Dresden, Malo Oraido, a former member of the Dance Theater company, goes back to Iphigenia in Tauride on dancers from the Semper Opera. Again, the atmosphere is that of an opera with dancers from ballet schools, mirrors, and vast studios. In Dakar, Josephine Anne Endicott, another former member of the Dance Theater company, goes back to the rite of spring on dancers from all over Africa. This takes place under an open tent with a wind. The linoleum creases and is shaded by red sand. The dancer, at best, did some street dancing. In both cases, the artistic transmission needs resilience, meticulousness, and listening. It's not just a technical apprenticeship, there is a way to be a revolutionary letting go. The pictures, which pass from the one project to the second, reveal the contrast and the similarities. The film catches the intensity of the artistic and human adventure, showing snippets of touching personal stories. For example, the African girls say they dance against their family wishes, and the star dancer confides she suffers from her great size.
Funny, isn't it?
The pictures, which pass from opera to Senegal scene, the ambition remains the same. However, the COVID epidemic halted the Rite of Spring performance. Finally, they danced on the sand with the last rays of the sun. It was great, magnificent, and also a symbol of resilience. For the end, only artists can conquer death.
Oh, yeah, no, fantastic. Well done, Sylvie. Fantastic.
Thank you.
So here we have two different scenes. We have the scene in Senegal with Africans who are on the beach, who have no real area for their dance. They are outside on the sand in the heat. And then you have, in Germany, another group simultaneously doing their dance with the same choreographer, Pina.
Yes.
And they have all the conditions they need. They have the beautiful opera theatre. They have the infrastructure for the music. They have their good sound. They have the big mirrors, the big vast areas.
And they have the air conditioning.
And they have the air conditioning. So it really is a contrast. How did you feel coming out of this film?
It was not so important, this contrast, because the atmosphere was very rich, and the how can I say, the voluntaries of the dancer was very important.
Okay, yeah, they were very, very eager to dance, and they really wanted to do it. Despite COVID, because we spoke earlier about the COVID, did they continue? We know that COVID, the epidemic, arrived. Were they able to continue in Germany or no?
Yes,
they could.
They could continue in Germany. We could see it, but in Dakar they were stopped, and they choose to dance on the sand on the beach.
Oh yeah.
Only for them.
Only for themselves.
Only for themselves.
Okay. And do you think that this woman Pina? What do we know about Pina? We know that she was born in Germany and all the rest. How did she become so popular?
Oh, I didn't know Pina before.
Ah, yes.
It's a discovery.
It's a discovery.
It's a discovery for me. It's a golden nugget, you know.
Ah, yes.
But I am not a dancer.
Yeah.
I didn't know before.
Ah, yes. And so perhaps now other young artists are going to follow in her footsteps too. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Sylvie, you're not a dancer then, are you?
No, I am not a dancer. I took Charleston dancing lessons for 1 year. It's my only experience of dance.
Oh,
but I have an idea. When I will be retired, I would like to learn tap dance. Like a traditional dance of Ireland.
Oh, very nice. The Gaelic dancing. Okay, well, listeners, we don't have enough time to talk about all of that even more, but let's come back to our expression before we finish. Footloose and fancy free. So you said, Sylvie, that footloose and fancy free is...
To be free.
To be free. And it is. It's an idiomatic expression expression meaning someone is free. It was often created through the combination of two separate phrases, both referring to the liberty of free individual, so without commitment and without responsibilities. Well, listeners, thank you, Sylvie, for coming today.
Thank you.
And listeners, that's all that we have today. But if you wish to listen to this podcast again, don't hesitate to find us on YouTube, Radio Grand Lac, 92.1, Your English Weekly on the 16th of May, 2023. However, please stay tuned because at 1 o'clock you will have the latest tendency of decoration with Jessica. At 2:15, you have the art of movement, le jeu du mouvement, with Joe. At 5 o'clock, you have 1 hour, one community with Jean-Pierre. And today, it is the Mat Cervelex with Luc Berthaud. And at 6:15, on va tout y faire péter with Jérôme. We are going to go nuts with Jérôme. Well, thanks again, Sylvie, for coming.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining me on the air. So bye to you from us at You.
Your English Weekly. Your English Weekly. La chronique 100% en anglais de Radio Grand Lac avec Sinead.
Radio Grand Lac.
Votre radio.